everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Lonesome vocalist Jordan Kerr-Gray. We talk all about the band's debut album, In the Hope This Finds You, the characters on the album's cover, the strong focus on visuals and imagery, his chainmail mask, the different ways that the album can be listened to conceptually, collector's cards, and loads more. But before we dive into all of that, if you want to help me and the podcast out, that'd be pretty sweet, and here's how you can do it. First off, you can hit subscribe or follow wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on anything new that I put out. Second, you can leave a review or a comment. Third, you can follow the podcast on social media. If you want email updates, then you can sign up to the mailing list. There's also a Patreon and a web store if you want it to go one step further. And I've also just set up a Discord, so you can get involved over there and be a part of the community. If any of that sounds good to you, I've shoved links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all that out of the way, here's my chat with Lonesome vocalist Jordan Kerr-Gray. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Jordan of Lonesome. How's it going, dude?
Really good, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Glad to have got you to go onto this podcast because you guys have just dropped your debut full-length album, which is called In the
We have
Hope
indeed.
This Finds You. That's out now via Easy Life Records. So if people listen and haven't heard the album yet, change that as soon as you finish with this podcast. How have you found the reaction so far? From fans, from critics, and I guess for you as well. Like, how does it feel to finally have like a debut full-length album out in the world now?
Yeah, it's it's very very overwhelming to begin with. I mean, uh with anything you're always nervous about putting it out because you're not you you sort of suffer from imposter syndrome and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I hope people like this. I hope they're going to love it. And then it just kind of like snowball affected for us, and we got the day before it came out we got the 4K 4 out of 5 on Kerrang, which was like I was mind blown. I was like, oh my
amazing.
god,
Yeah,
like 12-year-old Jay would be like screaming like this is incredible. And then yeah, then we had a couple of others. We got 8 out of 10 on another one, and yeah, it was just insane, like even just from the reviews, which sometimes reviews can be quite like humbling at times, that you kind of
yeah, a
take a
bit
hit on
brutal.
them. So
Yeah,
yeah, and like people were writing some really really nice things, and yeah, it was like yeah, it was crazy to read. I was like, these people are writing this about our music, like what we're
yeah,
saying, and like the words and what it means, and the characters we've created through our music videos and stuff. And then, yeah, over the past week or so, like loads of people have like, it's really crazy because people have been messaging saying, "Oh, this was like the most anticipated album for me coming out this year," and I was just like, that's
wow,
crazy. Like, and it's not even just like one or two people. It's probably been like maybe 6 or 7 people, and which is which blows my mind because I
that's
just think
huge.
it's
Like,
just
think about
insane. Like,
how many albums come out in a year, and it's your
exactly,
album.
yeah. I
Yeah,
know. I'm like, I like, are you sure? Like, so yeah, it's been crazy. Like, yeah, we just didn't expect the reaction that we got, but at the same time, it's really nice to have that reaction because it means that what we've done is actually like resonating with people, and it like in the hope it finds you, like it's finding the right people, which is like
yeah,
exactly what we wanted it to do. So it's lovely.
yeah. Like, yeah, the title just kind of rings true to what you wanted it to achieve of it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think if I've done my research right, I think didn't you write this album like over Skype during the lockdown? So that's like what 2020, 2021.
Yeah, yeah, during the big C word,
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah, so well, the guys actually wrote it over Skype.
Right.
I was the only one still working through COVID just because of my job and that.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were meeting every day on Skype, and they were like record bits in so that you could listen back through an interface and stuff, which it was I thought was really impressive to begin
Yeah.
with anyway, that they were able to do that. And yeah, they spent so much time just like hashing away at this album and just wrote this, yeah, this like musical journey through the whole thing. And like I think that's kind of why it tied in with In the Hope This Finds You, because I think at that time, like we needed to write that album just as much as we wrote the album for people to need, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So yeah, it was a hard time for the world and for a lot of people, but we managed to utilize it and like make our debut album, which is pretty beautiful to us. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Especially like with such like the times that they were, and being able to create an album without like even being in the same room as each other, like just
yeah.
sending these ideas across from literally across the internet, right? Like that's just
Yeah.
such a
Yeah,
crazy thing that yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like we tried to all go in the same room and write before, but sometimes you're just trying to force something and it doesn't
yeah,
quite work. And like we just found like a really good way for everyone to write together, which is really good because we learn that that's the best way to write and the most efficient. So going forward, we know that we can just do this, and we always make a bit of a joke like, "Oh, gonna jump on Skype." So
So that's quite a gap then, though, isn't it? Like, so 2020, 2021 to
yeah,
obviously us getting the album in 2025.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess, what was going on between those, 4 years, I guess, of, from writing to completion and release?
Yeah, yeah. So we wrote most of it. So we had our demos recorded, and then a lot of it was obviously I wasn't there for the writing as
Yeah,
much as I wanted to be because I was working and stuff. And then afterwards we put the words together and the lyrics and all the vocals and that, and then we started recording. And the way in which we was recording it was just because obviously we all work full time and costings of everything, especially after COVID and that.
yeah,
We would go and do like a couple of days at the studio. So we'd kind of like do 3 days of guitars, and then 3 days of this, get all the drums down, and then we'd go up like sort of a couple of days each month, which takes its toll kind of thing. Like it takes a long time if you're only doing a couple of days in the studio at a time. So I would probably say it took about a year ish to record because we were back and forth kind of thing.
yeah.
And just aligning five people's plans is not the easiest of
Not
things
easy.
to do in the first place. So logistically, it was just a bit like of a nightmare to try and align everyone free. And there would be weekends or days in the week where, say, two of us would go up just to track bits, and then maybe one person would go up for the third day, or and yeah. So then that happened. Then it was obviously all mixed and mastered, and we were like, "Oh my God, we've got an album! Like this is insane!" And we just held off. I think we kind of we just wanted like this was our debut album, and what we didn't want to do is just release it and no one hear it. Like and that's always the scariest thing. Like no matter what you do, you're terrified that no one is going to hear the amount of effort, the hard work, and financially how much money you invest in these things. And yeah, we just got mega lucky, and yeah, we ended up signing to Easy Life. Well, we released a couple of singles first,
Yeah,
um and then yeah, we signed to Easy Life, which was insane. So yeah, if you asked me 2 years ago, would I think I'd be sat here saying all these things, the answer
yeah,
would be no. So yeah, it's pretty special. So yeah,
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Well, I guess being a debut album and being on a record label like Easy Life Records, and
yeah,
the push that this album has gotten. You mentioned before the high review ratings on in places like
yeah,
Kerrang and stuff. Yeah, being a debut album, I guess this will be the moment for a lot of people that this is their introduction to Lonesome. This is the
yeah,
moment they discover you guys. Um, so I guess for people who aren't familiar with your story, I think you formed in 2019 out of the
yeah,
ashes of another band called That Night Forest Grew.
yeah, that's
Um,
correct. Yeah.
would you mind just briefly explaining, I guess, for like the newcomers to the Lonesome World, like how this band all started and got to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So me, yeah, me will. Well, majority of us were in that night Forest Grew, so we were like a melodic, hardcorey, screaming kind of band.
Yeah,
Still have like the atmospheric vibes and stuff, but it was just a bit more like melodic hardcore, and yeah, and I just wanted to sing more, I guess, like was probably the only way to explain it. And I was just like, oh, maybe we should just do a bit more singing. And then when we originally then transitioned to Lonesome, I actually played guitar.
Right.
So I was singing and playing guitar. So if you listen to like the EP of To Myself From Myself, you tend to hear that there's nowhere near as many vocals as there is on the newer stuff. And yeah, we played some really cool shows. We toured a couple of times. Like it was really cool. And then yeah, and it just got to the point where I was just like, I can't give everything playing guitar and doing vocals. And I was never really like, if you put an instrument on me, I was like I'd get quite like stage fright
Right.
performing and stuff. And I just yeah, it just wasn't really good for me. And the other guys are insane musicians, so it was just kind of like we either need to make the musicianship the same level as the rest of the band, or give me the space to do the vocals to the quality that suits the music, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, then we just sort of we did To Myself From Myself, and then yeah, we just kind of like that seemed to be like the bridging gap between the old sort of melodic hardcore stuff into this new like debut album.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just kind of ended up with what we wrote, with more melodies, more vocals, really like honing in on our sound, I guess. Which is super exciting for us. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you say that about having the guitar, because I guess if you're just singing, then you're just like that's one thing you're focusing on,
Yeah.
and you can, I guess, put more energy into it, and you're a bit more fluid. Whereas I guess if you
Mm.
have a guitar or you're behind a drum kit or whatever instrument it is, that's kind of in a way restricting you because you've got
It's like
to,
a wall, yeah.
yeah, not only focus on making sure you're playing the right riffs
Yeah.
and notes and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff, but also there's literally something in front of you that means that you've got to
yeah. Yeah.
make sure you're not like hitting anyone or hitting the wall or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. I just felt that I wasn't given, like, vocals were my number one, but I felt like I was only given like 50%, 75% because I was like restricted by this guitar, and then I would be stressing about it and I'd be like, oh, I'm not playing it correctly. And then yeah, but it was a nice gap because there are big cinematic sections of music in the older stuff. It was fine because I was playing guitar, so it would like fill the gap. But then if when we, because obviously we've been playing the older stuff live for quite a
Yeah.
while, there's big sections, and like I would be a bit like, oh, do we have to play this song? Because like I don't know what to do for 1 minute 30 like in between whilst I'm on stage. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like whereas the new stuff, it's like full energy, and it's just like yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Like there's obviously room in the songs where, the music itself can breathe, but
Yeah,
there's a lot
yeah,
more
exactly.
vocals involved in this
Yeah,
in this newer material.
yeah, mate. I think that's the one thing that we've kind of sort of found, like you say, like we're super like on it with making sure that we let the music breathe, because you can just put vocals all the way through a song and sometimes it'd be too much. But also in the same, if you don't have enough, you could miss opportunities with some of like the big kicks that we have. And yeah, I think we've done well to sort of let the music breathe and let it speak for itself, but also have those moments where you're like, yeah, I really want to sing my heart out now, like let's sing along with Lonesome, kind of thing. So
Yeah. There's also moments where, like you said before, you don't want to be just kind of stood there doing nothing for about a minute. But at the
yeah.
same time, you want to have a chance for you to take a breath, let yourself breathe
Yeah.
alongside the music.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess with with this album and the band as a whole with this record, like you've really lent into like the imagery and the aesthetics of, everything that
Mm.
surrounds it. Um, and if we just kind of focus on the album cover for the moment, like visually that kind of reminds me of the album cover for Casually Dressed by Funeral for a Friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously it's just like a very easy connection with the veiled heads, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
obviously there's two different characters on the cover, which is, you've got this color scheme of like black and red, and one of the characters has like a crown of thorns on it as well.
Yeah.
Can you just briefly explain like who those two characters are on the album cover and what do they represent on the album as a whole?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, um, when we were kind of like delving into it, and we'd made the music video for Liar first, and I'd seen this guy on Instagram, and he produces these incredibly like spooky, like Halloween-esque reels with this like hooded figure, and I just fell in love with it, and it made me feel uneasy, but at the same time, I was like I felt at home with it,
Right.
which just confused me. Like I
That's a
was like, oh,
juxtaposition, isn't it?
yeah, I shouldn't feel this way, but like it's drawing me in,
Yeah.
and that was where we took the inspiration from the hooded figure from. Um, and then when we had the hooded figure and everything like that, we built this like character for this album, and with anything and everything, there's always your good and bad and so on and so forth. So basically how we done it was we created this figure with the crown of thorns, and the more we sort of like delved into it, they sort of wrote their own narrative for
Okay.
us, like with the music. So like with anything, like with To Myself From Myself, it was a letter, and all the lyrics and everything run into a line, and it was a letter that we'd written to ourselves from ourselves. And it was kind of the same with the album. You kind of have this this sort of like theme of betrayal, but like acceptance, and yeah, it's just kind of like you grieve and then you forgive, and like you're feeling sorrow. There's a lot going on with it, and I think the thing was for us there was a reader and a writer, and
Right.
I think the two characters kind of represent those as one, almost being the reader and the writer, but also allowing the person listening to be the reader, but also when yeah, it's all kind of confusing, but like when you're the idea was that when I never wanted to give a direct narrative for it, because I wanted people to feel what they felt when they were listening to it. And I think when you're looking for something, whether you're trying to heal or you're trying to find answers in something, you will find it. And I felt like the whole concept of this album and the idea behind it was that whatever you need it to be, it will be for you, and you will find it somewhere in these songs, whether you can relate to one of the characters, or you find the healing through the words or the music. And I feel like that was the entire point of having these two characters. Then when you first look at it, they're striking. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, are these against each other? Are they supporting each other? Are they've got their backs turned to each other, but they're two very different depicted characters. And whether you could say one's good, one's bad, or whether they're just a force that is not to be reckoned with. So yeah, it's all a bit of a like mystery to a certain degree, but I think that when you look at it, you will find what you need from it, and I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, you want some like mystery and room for interpretation. Like you say, you don't want
Yeah,
like super direct narrative because you're saying
yeah,
this is exactly what it's about, this is what it means. Whereas
yeah,
if there's some fluidity into what that could mean, like someone could latch onto a song and I guess make an interpretation and draw a meaning from that that you will never yourself have ever interpreted in your mind
yeah,
when you were writing these
exactly.
lyrics.
Yeah, and I think that is so magical. Like I always say that like music is a physical form of feelings, like an emotion, and I think it's so key that we can listen to these songs. Like I can listen to one song and you can listen to the same song, but I'll draw from it something that means something to me and you. And I think that's just so like crazy and beautiful about music. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about music. It's just so universal, but also so personal at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. And just continuing with the visuals, like you yourself, you done like this chainmail like
Yeah,
headwear.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it looks obviously much nicer and prettier than actual chainmail and will be much easier to breathe in and sing through than real
Yeah,
chainmail. But
yeah.
I guess it's like similarity to chainmail. I mean, I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but does it come like for you, is it kind of like a mental and emotional form of protection when you're on stage or when you're doing these videos and you're wearing it? And I guess it helps you kind of in a way go into a character and portray yourself in a way that maybe you'd feel less vulnerable doing if you didn't wear it. I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
sense the way
you
I worded
literally
it.
100% nailed it. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So we had a bit of a chat within the band because a lot of people we had a few comments saying, "Oh, what's the deal behind this?" And I was just gonna never talk about it and just be one of those things that I never spoke about. And then
Yeah.
had a article written about the album, and they wanted to delve into like 5 influences that weren't to do with music, which was like a really cool topic, and I wrote this piece about it, and I thought, do you know what, this is the opportunity for me to actually explain what it was, and yeah, you literally nailed it. Like I'm always terrified before going on stage. Like I really badly suffer with stage fright, and like most of the time when I sing, I have my eyes closed, and I have a tendency to have my back to the crowd, and it's nothing personal. It's just the way that I absorb myself on stage,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking to myself like, everyone does a mask. You have your sleep token, your president, and they do it well, and that's what it is. And I didn't want to mask myself. I just
Yeah.
needed that little something that made me feel a bit more secure. And yeah, I found this thing and I put it on. And I was like, I remember walking into band practice showing the lads like, guys, I think I'm gonna wear this for a video. And they were like, oh man, that's really cool. Like, okay. And then yeah, and then after that, like we played in Norwich the other week, and it was the first show that we played some of the new songs at. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna wear it. And they were like, okay, cool. Like, can you sing through it? I was like, yeah, I can sing through it. I
Yeah.
said, I just can't drink or anything, but I'll have to just
Yeah.
pour it over my face. But they
Yeah.
said, like, yeah. And yeah, and I just kind of said to myself, like, this is this is now Jay at Lonesome when he's got this on, and this is where he just walks on stage and he performs, and that's it. And yeah, and it's yeah, exactly like you say, it's like this chainmail of this, like it's like my armor when I'm stepping into my most like vulnerable state, and it's just going to protect me. Not that I need protecting, but it's just yeah, mentally it helps. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you only got the one then? Or have you got like
Yeah,
quite a
yes.
few?
No. I should get some more really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got one. So the same one has been in all the videos,
Right.
and everything. So yeah. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's cool.
especially if you're gonna like wear it live now, like I don't know, like if you get stuck in a pit or something, it gets pulled and then it breaks. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
get a few replacements just
Yeah,
in case.
I need like a wardrobe full of them, like with my
Yeah,
lonesome outfits.
yeah. Maybe get ones with like different colored sequins so you can have like a different color scheme or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I tried to find a red one, so I could have like a red one and then a black version.
Yeah,
But yeah, I couldn't find a red one
yeah,
unfortunately because I thought it'd be cool to rotate. But
yeah, definitely. Does it get? 'Cause I mean, it looks like when you're singing and it's obviously your mouth's open. Does like the sequins go in like your teeth and then you bite it?
do you know what? No, they don't actually,
No.
which is quite lucky. I did think, oh God, I'm gonna end up biting these like gems or something off, but yeah,
Yeah.
none at all. I'm quite fortunate because I wear my glasses. I can like weave my glasses in the side and then tuck it behind my ears, so it kind of holds it
Right.
all in place.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty comfortable to be fair. You don't notice it after a while, so well, I don't feel it on. You definitely
Yeah.
notice it because I'm sparkling away, but.
Yeah. I thought like not only would it like potentially chip your teeth, but also because you're feeling like the strings or whatever it is,
Yeah.
kind of like brushing against your cheeks. But I guess if you're wearing the glasses, it kind of like you say, kind of holds it so it's
Yeah,
not going
masks
all
it.
over the
Yeah. The only
place.
thing I have like a dermal in my cheek, so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm having to be so careful where I'm like, oh, don't rip it out because that's the last thing I
Oh
want.
yeah.
But yeah,
Don't do that. That'd be
yeah,
worse than chipped teeth, I think.
yeah, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess away from the band as well, you do like photography and cinematography. So I guess that
Yeah,
must have been nice, on this album cycle to kind of lean it, bring those two passions of yours together into
yeah.
one. Because yeah, I think you do all the like the photography and the videos as well, right?
Yeah. So do everything. So between myself and Will, so Will does a lot of like the graphics and stuff like that. And yeah, literally we filmed all the videos ourselves. And I end up having to throw the camera to one of the guys, and they all look at me when it gets to my turn. They're all like, "No, don't give it to me, don't give it to me." I'm like, "One of you just got to do it." So, but yeah, it's cool to do it. It's a lot of work, like a lot of work, and sometimes we have like super fast turnaround, especially when we didn't know like what was going on when we were releasing singles ourselves. It was like, oh, cool, let's make a music video, like let's get it out. And then it's like, oh, we're signed and we need to produce these like
You've got a schedule
every
now.
6 weeks. Like, let's get on with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the for We Are Strangers Again video, that was one continuous take through the whole video. Um, and my brother was helping hold the camera rig, and we were putting him through his paces because we were like, we're gonna have to go again, and he was like, why did you pick the longest song? But yeah, so we just tried to experiment really with what what worked best. And like we had loads of people comment saying, oh, the aesthetic kings and stuff, which is like really nice to hear. Like it's nice to know that people like find all the little like Easter eggs in everything, and like super supportive of it. And it just makes all the stress and like graft and the late nights and everything, it just makes it all worthwhile when people like really enjoy what we do. And that's kind of why we do it, is to make everyone sort of feel something and feel happy with it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the visuals are like super important, right? Like you could, I guess, in a like a social age and a visual age, right? Like you could write
Yeah.
the best songs or the best album in the world, but if no one like sees you or know who you are, then they don't hear it, then kind of like what's the point, right? Like if I don't
Yeah.
know any other band that I can think of, maybe you do, but who wears a chainmail mask? Like if anyone says, "Oh, that band with the chainmail mask," oh, that's Lonesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and like you say, it is super important. And we're in a time where your music may be the best music in the world, but if you're not actively on social media and doing these things, then people won't see it. And that's
Yeah,
a shame. Like that's it, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately, and
yeah,
we can't change that.
yeah. You just need like a. I mean, not every band needs it, but it definitely helps have kind of like a visual hook, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
something like massive, like Slipknot, who obviously wear masks
Yeah.
and have these boiler suits, or you look at a band like Kiss, which is kind of a similar thing, where you look at a band like
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit, it's just the red snapback, and you know that that's Limp
Yeah,
Bizkit.
yeah, yeah.
It's just all these things, and so whenever like fans have this argument, like, oh, it's not about the looks, it's not about that, it's about the music. It's like, especially nowadays, it is definitely not just about the music,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, you need a little bit of everything. It might not be completely about the look, but you do need that little thing that says, "Oh, this is those guys." And yeah, I think that's the one thing that we really tried with, was so that if someone seen our feed that's like covered in red, they would know it's Lonesome, or the chainmail wearing guy with the fisherman's hat. Oh, that's Lonesome. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything massive, does it? Like even like when like Whole and Absence started, that all their photography
Yeah.
was black and white, or when Loaf
Yeah, yeah.
started, all their photography was just with a tint of red, like just
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it plays such a key part, I think, in like noticing it, especially with people's attention span when they're just scrolling. You need to make them stop. Like, so yeah,
Yeah, you need like a brand or an identifier, don't you? Which you
yeah,
don't want bands and music to sound like businesses, but that's what
yeah.
they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we are.
Yeah, yeah. Do you I guess do you enjoy like the creative freedom that comes with you making the promo images and the videos? Because I guess if you hire someone else to do it, you kind of communicate your idea, but they might not 100% execute it. Whereas if you're literally making it, it's you.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you want, so you're literally doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's obviously you have the complete and utter creative freedom and everything like that, and it's great. But from the other aspect, because you're making it, you kind of like pick fault with all the little bits.
Yeah,
So
I guess so. Yeah.
sometimes it's like, yeah, it's kind of a bit of both. But yeah, I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And yeah, we always make a joke, and we're like, oh, when we're famous, we'll get so and so to make videos, and we won't have to do it ourselves, and we won't be sat up till 4 a.m. But I could guarantee we still will be, and we'll still be doing our videos. And yeah, I think it just comes part and parcel, and I think that's kind of like your identity, to a certain degree, and that's what we do. And yeah, I don't think we'll change from it.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, right? Like even I guess there's probably going to be some times where you have this idea in your head, but it's like, how do I execute the idea in my head? How do I make it from
Yep.
my head into reality?
Yeah, that is a running theme. We tend to normally go, right, what ideas have we got? And then we're like, right, now let's dial them back down to what we can achieve.
Let's come to reality now.
Yeah, we've got like a Universal Studio production, and we're like, yeah, let's do this. And then we're like, right, yeah, but it's one guy with a camera, so let's try and make it our best.
And you've got a deadline as well, so let's not go
Yeah,
let's not go
yeah,
mental.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And you've got that custom mic stand as well. It's like a chain, and then you've got the black
Yeah,
roses on it.
yeah. So, um, it's kind of a little bit of everything really. So I've got the big chain down it. I've got all the roses. So again, I bought some roses and then I spray painted a couple of them chrome. And I have a chrome microphone as well. So it was
Right.
just like kind of tie it all in. And then yeah, have the big chain and then the red material down. But
Yeah.
again, it was one of those things where if it's on the stage before the set, you go, oh, that's Lonesome's micro. All right, they're gonna come on now, and I think that it's just important. It's those little pieces that people pick up time and time again, and they go, oh yeah, and it gets them excited because I'm the same. If I go and watch Bring Me the Horizon or any of those bands, and I see the drum kit or like the digital artwork on the side, I'm like, oh yeah, that's ready. They're coming, and I get excited for it. And I
Yeah.
just wanted people to feel the same when they see the little things from us, basically.
Yeah. I wonder how long the roses are gonna last, like getting knocked about on shows and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably more for just like looks and to take
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mic off. And I think I'm gonna ruin it or hit myself in the face with a chain, and then I will chip my teeth or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Try and avoid that, yeah. But I think
yeah,
like your
definitely.
chainmail mask, maybe you have to have like a stockpile of roses so that if one does get damaged or they
Yeah,
all get like pulled off or whatever, then you've got right, okay. Next show tomorrow, we can just shove these on and we've still got the same mic stand.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if we go into like I guess the sonics of the album, the music, there's so many like layers and textures in the like the background of the
Yeah,
music, um, which I guess because maybe you can correct me, but it sounds like from when I'm hearing it, like each song literally bleeds into one another. There's no like stopping moments. Like
yeah.
each song fades into
It
the other.
it is one continuous song.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
drone at the
yeah.
end
The whole
completely
thing.
cuts
Yeah.
into the start. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that is the one thing that we always make sure that we do is that every song literally leads into another song, and we're making some content at the minute because all of there is three or four different orders in which you can listen to the album.
Right.
So
Okay.
for example, again, like I was saying earlier about the letter, the to myself from myself, that actually fits in between tracks 4 and 5 of the album.
Right.
So
Okay.
when you can listen to tracks 1 to 4, then the To Myself from Myself EP, then the remainder of the album, and then if you listen to In Your, it all loops. So our whole back
Wow.
catalogue loops
Okay.
into one. So yeah, so we're making some content at the minute that shows all the different ways in which you can actually play all the songs for them to make sense. But again, with the two characters, one being the reader, one being the writer and stuff, and writing this letter to myself from myself, I wanted it to like fit in the middle. So it was like if it's a book, in the middle of the book, you'd find this letter. And
Wow.
I
Okay.
always thought it was this really cool, like just pretty aspect to it. So yeah, the music all follows with that as well. It's not just kind of like oh, lyrically these work. It's like no, every little detail is thought out, and the guys have done a phenomenal job with it. So yeah, it's
Wow. That
pretty
must have
cool.
been. I don't want to say like difficult, but like considering doing that and then having it executed so that it works in,
Yeah,
like you say, the four different ways that you can experience the album and
yeah.
also the EP at the same time.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, and I think some like the reason we obviously need to make the content for it is so that people know that, and I think then you find another love for it as well. So it's like your first love and your second love.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just producing some content at the minute that sort of explains all the different ways. But yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's your favorite way of listening to it?
Oh, I think it would be starting off with In Your. and then going into the first half of the album, To Myself, From Myself, and then the second, I just like you wrote to me is one of my favorite songs. I think it is the bookend of the album, and
Yeah,
I think it just because it draws lines from some of the other songs and lyrically from the other songs as well, and when they're overlapping, I think it really just sums up, yeah, everything that I wanted it to do. Like with that song, there was certain things that I was just like, oh, I want to bring lines back, and I want it to be this message, and I want it to feel this way. And for me, it's my like my the best piece that I wanted to write, and it was exactly how I wanted it to be. And yeah, that's just my favorite ending to it, and I think it just finishes it all off and explains kind of everything. I think you'd once you listen to it, you kind of sit there and you go, you sort of take a couple of minutes because you're like, ah, right, that's finished. But in my head, I'm like still going on, and it's still making me feel all these things. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely that.
yeah. I think I don't know if you've kind of considered this or anything like that, but one thing I guess you could do potentially is like a deluxe version of the album where that is in the middle. And I guess
Yeah,
if you did like a vinyl pressing of it, you could have like obviously one vinyl, which would be the first half of the record. Then you
yeah,
open it up, and it's a gatefold, and then you've got like the letter in there,
you
as
got
you
it. Yeah,
mentioned, which is like a 10 inch or something of the EP,
yeah.
and then go on to the second vinyl of the back end of the album. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, we've got so the To Myself From Myself we actually have pressed on vinyl, so
Oh,
12 inch
okay.
and it's white as well. And I, so it's got an infinity groove on it, so it just sits there. And I remember once I was listening to it and I'd completely forgotten, and I came back about 20 minutes later and I was just like, is this still going? And I was like, oh, it's on the like it even caught me out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh right. But yeah,
Wow.
it just when you flip it over, then it obviously blends straight back into the other side. But yeah, the idea would be to do it exactly how you say and have it all. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple of ways in which I'd like sort of asset wise to if we do a physical release, to release with it. Um I won't say too much just in
Yeah, of
case we
course.
do
Yeah.
it, but yeah, there's a couple of physical items that I think um I would like to release with it that would not only be like a cool keepsake, but also a form of again people to potentially write in, and so it's like something for them that's a bit more
Yeah.
personal. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a lot of ideas we've got with that. So yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of records that have that infinite groove. The only other one I can think of is there's a Defeater album that does that at the end. I don't know how well versed you are in Defeater, but they have like characters as well.
Yeah.
Like each album is a concept album about a family, and each album focuses on one character.
Oh,
And then the two
amazing.
characters meet at the end of one album, and basically there's a train coming towards one of them, and they're on the tracks. And then the drummer is playing, so it's just like it sounds like a train is coming, and obviously it gets louder and louder and louder and
Oh
louder.
wow.
And then halfway through saying something, the album just goes completely silent to kind of signify they've been hit. And at that
Oh
point, that's when
wow.
the vinyl goes into the infinite groove,
Oh, that is
which
so
is
cool.
it's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane. Yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow.
If you like conceptual albums with like story and stuff, definitely
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah, it's really
Yeah, I'll
cool.
check them out. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
insane. Yeah, I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess with all those like layers and textures, was there ever a worry when you were creating this album? Like, I guess there's always the potential of like you could like overdo it and it just sounds messy because there's so much going on. Was
Yeah.
that ever a worry for you?
Yeah, there was we kind of like touched on some of those areas even whilst recording and stuff, and there was some I mean, Will is the mastermind behind all the layers and everything like that. And yeah, there was sometimes there was too much, and especially like when we were building like adding the vocal layers to it as well, it was kind of like sometimes it was too much and it was a bit messy and like muddy in the middle, so we had to
Yeah.
then like really focus on tones, because if we have three guitars like as well as all the guitars on the back end, so like
Yeah.
like there's a lot to process, and if you're not careful, like you say, it can just be a wall of mud, and then almost the layers become redundant because if you can't hear them, there's no point in it.
What's the
So
point of them being there? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we had to we would go through it with such a fine tooth comb and just be like, is it adding to the music? If it's not, then take it away. And yeah, we like there were a lot of tracks on the album, like
Oh, really? Okay.
a lot. I can't remember how much it was. But yeah, there was I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure it was about 800 tracks. It was a ridiculous amount of tracks. I mean, at some points we were four tracking vocals. So
Wow.
like yeah, so yeah, there was a lot of tracks. But yeah, everything that was there has a purpose and
Mm.
adds to the sound, and that was so key for us, like to make sure that we weren't like just make putting it in there for the sake of it and creating this noise buffer, let's say, that didn't need to be there. So yeah.
Yeah. Is that ever difficult then trying to choose how to represent that live? Like what are we playing live? What is going to be like
Yeah.
tracked in the background? Like how do you kind of decide on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, how we done it was to make it as a complete accurate representation of the album, like recorded to live, and
Yeah.
that was such a vital part of the live performance, and we've spent numerous amounts of hours in the studio, just like in the rehearsal studio, just like EQing vocals so that they cut through, and again with tones on guitars that are so important, and making sure that Paddy's playing this bit and then Will's playing this bit, because if Will's not playing that bit, then Paddy's bit doesn't sound correct. And
Right.
yeah, it's making sure that we had the main riffs and the body live, because we want we want people to stand there, and when it kicks in, we want it to literally be this huge wall of sound that just hits you. And I think we achieve it pretty well, considering, like you say, there's so many tracks on the album, and it could be quite easily falter,
Yeah.
good or bad. So like, but yeah, yeah, we spent a lot of time on tones and buying certain guitars just so that the sound cuts through, and like certain amps, certain pedals. I mean, their pedal boards are huge. Like I definitely don't offer to carry them out the van, that's for sure.
No.
But but yeah, there's a lot of time and a lot of thought and effort gone into, even like you say, just correlating it from the recording to being live, because it's easy to make a mistake with. So
Yeah, you want to replicate it as much as possible and also not
yeah,
potentially like on guitar play a part that's already being covered by the
yeah,
tracks, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And they all play in different tunings as well. So
Oh, wow, okay.
yeah, yeah. So different tunings and all sorts. So yeah, and then the swap guitars through the sets and stuff. So yeah, it's good. It's got to be so like so precise for everything to work. And like I say, we don't have the opportunity to stop, because we play the songs as a continuous piece for our set. So when we play our album release show in Peterborough, we will play from start to finish the entire album with no break, no stop. And when we play our set, we've merged, like if we're playing a support set, obviously it's a shorter period of time, so we've merged and written drone parts to piece some of the songs together so that they make
Right,
fit, and lose some of them obviously to cut the time down. So yeah.
right. Well, I mean, if you are going to replicate the album properly, that is going to be your last ever show because you're just going to keep playing that album over and over again and then continuous
Yeah,
loop.
we'll just get stuck and stuck.
Yeah. Like what you did say, oh, I'm going to go see Lonesome. They're still playing that album from 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
longest set in the world that'd be. That'd be a Guinness
Yeah.
World Record. So
Yeah. Be
yeah,
easy for us to achieve.
exactly. And I guess lyrically, you go down like a epistolary approach, right? Like you write in the form of like, for people who don't know what that means, like it in the form of like letters and
Yeah.
messages and stuff like that. Um, how's that for you, like in terms of writing lyrics? Like, what's that approach like for you in writing in that style?
I think it just is the way I've kind of always written. Like it's just like I try and think of it as sort of like how I want to write it, but also how I want to read it. So not again, it's the whole thing with the album. Like I'm writing stuff probably sometimes from a place where I'm feeling a certain way, but then also I want to look back on it and reflect and know that I felt that way to know that I'm in a better place.
Yeah.
And I think it's super important to learn from it and know that, do you know what? As bad as you thought it may have been at that point in time, look where you are now. And I think, and also there's kind of something pretty about writing a letter. It's quite an old-fashioned way of like having something physical. And I
Yeah.
think what I'm writing about is like these physical feelings or these physical emotions or this physical journey that you're going through. So why not incorporate it on something like that? If you was to receive, when you receive a letter, like a handwritten letter, it's like, oh man, someone's taken the time to write this. And I also think that if you're listening to it and reading these lyrics, you're more likely to relate to it because it's something that is actually like you would like something real you would receive rather than just words that you don't know the person that's wrote them, kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well, like in terms of like writing and the form of like a letter or a sentence or a structure, that's also how it comes across when you read the titles of each track, right, from start to
Yeah.
finish. That's like a whole kind of sentence in itself, right?
Yeah. So that, yeah, they all tie up. And the same on the EP. They all did that as well. And it was just kind of like when we done it the first time with To Myself From Myself, it was a bit like, oh, like we need to stick with this. And then like by chance, like the album just fell. It was like I subconsciously already writ the or
Oh, so it
wrote the
wasn't like
title.
purposely done. It just kind of
it
went that way.
it was purposely done, like that's what we wanted it to do,
Right.
but in the way in which it was written, they kind of all worked in the flow, and it was kind of
Right.
easy to just kind of like tweak a few little words to make it flow, and it was just like, oh well, it was obviously meant to be.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
so
just
yeah, it just worked. And I think also this, it's just kind of when you're reading something again, it's like a title within a title and a message within a message, and you're constantly then given these points when you're reading it or listening to it to just think and think and think. And I think it's super important.
yeah. I guess it's because you've put like not only musically but in the actual kind of presentation of the album, there's just like so many layers to what you're kind of
Yeah.
bringing. You're giving the fans reasons to listen to it again and again to kind of pick
Yeah.
up on things that maybe they didn't get the first time around.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, and I think like you say, there's so many layers in the music that I wanted to make sure that there was so many layers with everything else, and I think I wanted everything else just to like complement the music, and vice versa. I didn't want it to just be like an afterthought. Oh, let's just name these songs this, and then that'll work. Like it needs to be the whole package. It needs to mean just as much listening to the music as it is reading about it and writing it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw recently you were doing some kind of collector's cards. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I've got some here actually.
Or have you?
Show
Okay.
you them. So yeah, these are the
Oh,
two that
the
we
two
have
characters.
currently.
Yeah.
So they're the two characters, and I mean, I love going back to my childhood. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards all the time, so I like collecting cards, and people collect Pokemon cards and stuff. And yeah, when we launched our album release show, which is coming up next month, we wanted to basically give the first 50 people. So if you bought a ticket, you could have a collector's card. Um, and at the time, we had one. Well, we had the others, but we were just like showed one,
Yeah.
and they just became really popular. And a lot of people were messaging, like not in the UK or from Europe or vice versa. And someone from America was just like, "Oh, I really want one. How can I get one?" And I was like, "I can't really tell you to buy a ticket to the show because you can't."
Yeah.
As much as I would love to just be like, "Everyone come to the show," like it doesn't quite work like that. So, um, then the other day we basically released the cards for purchase for until like the next day for 24 hours. Yeah, and we did quite a few sets of them. But again, it was just that thing that I just wanted someone to almost feel like they've got a piece of Lonesome. Like They can have something like I quite collect a lot of things, and I think it's quite important to have it. And it it's not something that was massively expensive, but will like they're kind of based off like a tarot card kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the idea is that going forward, we will drop different ones themed for different things. So there are plenty more of these cards that will be coming out, let's say. Um, hence why they're called collector's cards.
Yeah.
So you can collect them all. But yeah, I just wanted it to be something cool and special that even if you are the other side of the world, there's something from us because obviously we haven't done any physicals of the album, um, which obviously further down the line we're hoping we can offer that, but at this present moment that's not something we're going to be able to do. So yeah, just with these, I just think it's a cool piece to be able to give back to everyone that's supported us and been there for us really.
Yeah, it's just something different because not everyone collects and plays vinyl or CDs or
Yeah,
tapes, and some people don't like wearing band merch. So I guess it's just
yeah,
something
exactly.
alternative that they can have that will still be a piece of Lonesome, and so they can support you guys
Yeah,
at the same time as well.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So from everything we mentioned, it seems like a lot is kind of considered when making this album and the messages and the way it carries itself and the world it inhabits. It kind of feels like, I don't know if you watch It's Always Sunny, but like that Pepe Sylvia thing where you got this like, huge mind map of like, so this goes to here and
Yeah.
we got this and this will do this and this will do that.
Yeah.
Um, in your opinion, what is the most interesting thing about this record other than the songs that you've incorporated into it, and what was the most difficult thing to pull off?
Oh, the most interesting thing and the most difficult thing to pull off. Um, ooh.
I've got your head scratching now.
Yeah, yeah, you have, yeah. The most interesting thing for me, it was. It's actually this kind of it's not a cop out, but this kind of answers both at the same time.
Okay,
To in a
go
weird way, but I'll explain.
go for it.
Um, all the strings on the album, um, and the trumpet, everything was all real.
Oh, really?
It was all recorded live. And again, the most difficult part was we went through samples and samples and samples and plugins galore, and none of it sounded correct. Like we just didn't have the feeling of what we wanted. So that was probably one of the most, and we was like getting, like when we were getting quotes from people, I can assure you, a string quartet is not the cheapest thing by any means. And obviously, we were funding the album ourselves.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, it was kind of like we didn't want to admit to defeat, but we needed it to sound right, and we'd invested a lot of time and money and everything. We were like, we've got to have this right. And I remember when it got recorded, and I remember listening to it back the first time, and I was just like, wow, like I was like, people are playing real like violin and stringed instruments to our music. Like this is insane. Like, so yeah, I think for me that's the most interesting part because I think if you listen to the album, you don't necessarily always. It's not the first thing you're drawn to,
yeah.
but then like because obviously we have all the different layers and we hear everything, and that's why we've done a couple of like redux versions like of liar and save your words, um and then we bring those elements into it, so they're all there, they're all in the album, but when you hear like the redux versions, they're just the
They're a bit more
main body of
prominent.
it
Yeah,
as opposed to like the guitars and the drums. But yeah, the most, yeah, so I think that was definitely the hardest thing that we then managed to overcome, which was crazy because I just didn't think like we didn't think it was going to be possible, and we thought we were going
yeah.
to have to settle for some electronical plugin, but we didn't. Yeah, everything was, and we had Freddie from Lestel to come and record,
The
um,
trumpets.
yeah, the trumpets and stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Um, and then the most interesting. I'm gonna think of a different one. I'm not gonna
Okay.
use that for both. The most interesting thing. I I think I think it's got to be just the way it all falls into place. Like yeah, like all the titles falling, and the fact that the fact it was in the hope this finds you, and everything inside me just wanted it to find people,
Yeah.
and yeah, just the messages we've got recently are just, yeah, just great. It still doesn't feel real that the album's out. I mean, we sat on it for 5 years, and it's crazy to think that it's still out. But yeah, I think for me, the most interesting thing is probably that people's reactions and that they love it, which sounds, again, you're probably wanting something a little bit more like quirky and different, but
No, that's it's all good,
yeah, to
man.
me it's that it's definitely the love that people have for it, and the way it's helped people from their reactions, I think, because
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I didn't like Yeah, I didn't think it would be what it's become, which is, yeah, I mean, I'm sat here smiling, grinning, just talking about it, which is crazy. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's like the longer you sit on like a body of work, like an album that you put so much thought into, like this, like
Yeah.
nothing's kind of like half-assed. Like you've put thought into
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the way the titles fall, the way that the album flows into one, and that also kind of loops and how the EP can fit in the middle, like all these different things. I'm
Yeah.
probably just scratching the surface here, but the fact you put all those things into it and it's kind of sat there and like gestated for 5 years, and then you put it out
Yeah.
like if you've just put it out like as soon as it was done, and I guess if people were like, oh, it's okay, then it wouldn't be as hard to take as if you if you did it this time around like,
Yeah.
oh, no one gives a
Yeah,
shit, no one
definitely.
loves it, no one hates it, no one, it's just
Yeah.
there, it's just nothing. But
Yeah.
thankfully that's not what happened.
No, yeah, no, yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you mentioned the album release show October 18th in Peterborough. How are you feeling about that and playing the album in full?
Yeah, it's going to be an experience,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Um, yeah, it's I'm really excited for it. Like, I'm really really excited for it. And we've got some cool support acts as well. We've got our good friends Rex from Brighton, and we've got Bankertown on as well, which are like a local Cambridge band. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. And the venue we're playing is called the Met Lounge.
Right.
And I remember seeing bands there when I was like 15, 16 years old. And um, Steve, the guy that owns the Met Lounge, he's kept that venue open through everything. And like, it's nice to be able to go and play that show. And it's our debut album release show, which is like cool. I never thought 15-year-old Jay like would think that he'd be playing his album release show that's signed to a record label, like. And yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that as like a humbling thing for all the guys in the band and for myself, because it's where we grew up and where we've seen some of our like inspirations play on that stage. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. And I'm hoping that we can put on a really good show for, and not just like musically and live performance. Like, we've got a couple of ideas of what we're going to do for the show, and how we're going to, again, translate those layers from the music to everything else, and actually give it as a live performance, and intertwine loads of other aspects to it, rather than it just being us playing on stage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be exciting.
Exciting stuff, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have you got planned for the rest of 2025 and 2026 so far that you can talk about?
Um, we're playing at Camden, the Underworld, with Grumblebee on the 9th of October. And then we're playing another show in November in Cardiff, with Listel. But other than that, it's pretty much just ride the album out, and then get ready for next year. This is like our setup year, and then hopefully next year we can hit up some festivals and do some cool stuff.
Awesome, dude. Looking forward to it. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it and kind of digging into Lonesome and this brand new album. Any final words, anything you want to plug or say before I let you go? Floor's yours.
Well, firstly, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to come on here and talk about the album. I'm sure my friends and family are a bit sick of me talking about it and telling them all these little bits. And so it's nice that someone wants to listen to it. They're like, he's been going on about this album for 5 years now. So it's nice for people to hear it and experience it. And yeah, just thank you for everyone like that's been there for us and sort of gave us a chance, really, like the guys at Easy Life and our good friend Jay, and yeah, and I just yeah, we've got a really solid team around us. So just a big shout out to those guys, and shout out to all the rest of the members of the band as well. That I'm sure they're listening back to this, going, "He didn't say this," but yeah, and again, just thank you to yourself and to anyone that's listening. Just yeah, check out the album, and if it does make you feel a certain way, then drop us a message. I love talking to everyone about it. So if it's helped you in any way, then yeah, send us a message because I love to read it and hear your thoughts on it as well. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you again. I'll let you go, and hopefully I get to catch Lonesome live at some point in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. If there's a show that you're available to come to, let us know and we'll get you in. So yeah.
Awesome. Will do, dude. Yeah. Take care of yourself, and hopefully speak soon.
Yeah. See you later.
See you
Bye
there,
bye.
dude. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media, and maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.